eyes adored you. Though I never laid a hand on you, my eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. So close and yet so far. My eyes adored you. All my life I will remember. Though I never laid a hand on you, my eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. But I feel inside regret. So close. I know I won't ever forget you, my childhood friend. My eyes adored you. Though I never laid a hand on you, my eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you.
Okay, if we can kind of get back in your chairs, we'll try to keep this thing going and get you home by 11:30, something like that. Okay. While y'all are gathering here, the first thing I want to do is, it's amazing when you're standing up here, you look out there, and of course a lot of you beautiful women, but it's amazing what the flowers do for the whole scene. Don't you agree? They're beautiful, and the flowers tonight are the result of 2 months of just unbelievable work by two ladies, Snooky Chaplin and Squeaky Howard. So let's give them a big hand. You stand up. That's the flower ladies. That's the flower ladies. Come on up, Snooky. So first thing we're going to do is give flowers to 4 of our teachers that are represented here tonight. Snooky's going to be the presenter. So we'll start with Miss Sparkman, who was Miss Keithley. I found out she was my typing teacher. I'd even forgotten taking typing, but she says she still has the records to prove that I did win a contest. So come on up and get your flowers. Oh, well, we'll just bring them to you. That's okay. Just stand up here just a second. We'll give her, just turn around there. Just turn around right there. And then we have Miss Smitty, Gloria Smitty. And then we have Miss Townsend, Miss Titsworth Townsend. And we have Doyle Palmer. Huh? Let's have a big hand for the teachers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you can do the drawing. Have you got the pots there? Now Snooky's going to handle the drawing, so get your tickets out. That would be the little pink thing they gave you when you checked in. Then you go get you go get another thing for them. Wait, I'll have to put my glasses on too. I don't need them. I'm just looking at mine. Oh, do you want my glasses? Can you read with them? Oh, I'm going to call them out. No, I'm going to call the number out. Sorry. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ticket number 2346791. Do we have a winner? There he is. Come on forward and get your flowers. We're gonna do this quickly. We're not going to take a picture here or anything. How about 2346816? Or do we have a winner? No, they can go back to their seats. Don't water those because they're not alive. Okay. 2346816. Going once. Going twice. Okay. 2346851. Okay. Hey, we got a winner. Come on. You think? Okay. The last four digits, 6851. That's it. Okay. 2346847. 6847. Susan Lackey. You can have that one. 2346861. I hadn't been counting. I haven't been counting how many won here. Let's see, I think about four. If we give away more than we need to, how will we know when we
Well, there'll be up here, Steve.
2346825. I was with my mother-in-law at her assisted living home, and they were playing bingo, and they called two numbers. One lady hollered out, "Bingo!" And she says, "You're cheating." So you're cheating. So we're not going to have any cheating on these flowers here. 6807. 6807. Are those yours, Jimmy? Jimmy thinks that's his number. See, I hadn't been keeping the ones. A couple of these right here were, yeah, that's all right. Jimmy Evans, good job. 2346850 or 0. Over there, Carolyn
Just
Millard.
that one. Oh, lucky them.
2346846. That's 1, 2, 3, 8. 6846. Nobody. Going once. Okay, we'll put that over here. If we give away 11. 2346857. There you go.
You got a flower over there? Yeah.
We got two more. I'm just going to give the last 6784. 6784. Okay, Wesley. And the last one. 6841. Okay, we got a winner. Okay, thank you for being a good audience. Here. Thank you, darling. Okay, I'm going to try to get the serious part of the program over, and this is not going to go long, really. It won't hurt my feelings like those 499 people that left. They just go when you got to go. Want to do something serious. This is just an idea I came up with. I've checked it out with some of the committee members, and they're in agreement with me. As you know, the class elected superlatives. We voted for them, and different people were most likely to succeed and the most athletic, and somebody had elected me best dancer, and I had a bad leg. But it was the best thing everybody did for me, because I realized real soon I wasn't going to make a living dancing, so I had to go get me a real career, and that was good. So thanks to anybody that voted for me for best dancer. But we had a lot of great sports teams, as y'all are aware. We had football, basketball, and girls basketball, and we had a lot of people that got a lot of acclaim, and notoriety, but we had one award that was given to the most talented person. The female was Pat Long. Does anybody remember who the male was? William Centers. So what I want to suggest tonight is that we adopt just for our class of 62, just like going back in history, and we're going to have another vote, and we're going to vote for the most humble person in our class, okay? And I want to submit some evidence here for the award. This is, how many of y'all have seen this book? Okay, Red has. This is a book that was compiled by Gary Ownby, who's the broadcaster on the Bear Network, and he's put together it's called 100 Seasons of Black and Gold Glory, okay? This is about 100 years, 1,000 games. He's got all the scores and the records and everything in here, but he's got a lot of dialogue and pictures of everything that went on. And he's also got one, it's not hardback, about basketball. So $50 for both. This is $30 and the other is $20. All the proceeds go to the school's team. So if you want to buy them, you can contact Gary, or I think you can get them at the county court clerk's office, I think. But I bought these last week, autographed by Gary. But Gary and I got to talking about old times. And I told him I was a manager. I wasn't a player, but I knew all the players. And we started talking about William Centers. And I just want to read to you in this. There's 2 whole pages here in this book. And William, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to get up here and give a speech, okay? Unless you want to. It says, I know this, if I had accomplished what William Centers accomplished, I would have told everybody in the county and beyond that I hold the record, the Bear record, for the longest run from scrimmage, 57 years after making that run as a sophomore in 1959. Now, this is the words of Steve Sloan. During those 4 years I was on the Bradley Central football team, we had a lot of outstanding players at every position. One player during those 4 years who always stood out to me was William Centers. He was a great player all the time, caps, all caps. William didn't say a lot, but he played on a very high level of play. Someone like William doesn't come along very often. We would never have won a lot of those games without William carrying the load for the Bears. As I mentioned earlier, we had a lot of great players, but none were more dependable to give an all-out effort than William. I cherish those high school days together with William and my other great teammates as precious memories. Players like William helped to show our teammates that you could be successful if you simply applied yourself on every play, and that epitomizes William Centers. So what I want to do is I want to kind of make a motion that we hereby nominate and accept William Centers as the most humble person in our class. And will all that agree with me on that, let's give him a standing ovation. Thank you very much, and thank you, William, for all those great runs. When you're a manager, you don't have any athletic ability. I weighed about 50 pounds less than I weigh now, so I wasn't going to beat anybody up. But what I learned over the years, especially when you got great teams behind you, you can kind of talk smack to the managers of the other team. So one of our jobs was to help them get accustomed and situated in their dressing room. So I can remember many nights during the football season. I just helped out with football. I wasn't an official manager. I was the basketball manager. But I remember talking to some of those managers that would come in with teams that we were going to play, and I'd say, you know what you're going to be looking at all night? You're going to be looking at William Centers' rear end, number 24, as he runs away from you. Trust me, you don't know what you gotten yourself into by coming here to play the Bears. And William, you did us good, so thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Red? How many I nominate Earl Williamson as the slowest player in the history of Bradley. Let's clap for him. Okay. All joking aside, I know William, if he were up here right now, William would say that those holes he ran through were created by people like Red Williamson and Jimmy Williams from a prior class and any of you linemen that opened those holes up. Wouldn't that be right, William? Okay, thank you. Earl, would you like to say something more about opening those holes and blocking? Okay. He had one thing in mind. That was that goal line. Let's see. I asked a friend I said, have you had your 55th reunion? He said, yep. And I said, what's it like? He said, 50 Shades of Gray. So I think we're covering that pretty good. I'm trying to censor my own jokes here. Huh? Oh, I didn't vet that one? I'm sorry. That's my wife. She said she's made me promise not to tell any jokes. You know, the one thing about this class for me was it was my safe place. High school was my safe place. You know, where I would go, I knew people loved me and cared about me, and I know a lot of y'all share that same feeling. And I couldn't wait to get there, and it was just a good place to go. And you know, a lot of times people in high school don't have the greatest self-esteem and all this and that. And I was reminded of that recently when we have one grandson, and when he was about 7, we took him on a trip to Ruby Falls. How many of y'all been to Ruby Falls before? Good showing, okay. And so we're on a tour with Ralph, who had his name tag, Ralph, tour guide, Ruby Falls. So we had about 25 people there, and we're going around, and my little grandson's his mother was a cheerleader, Diane, in high school in Nashville. And so she's cheerleaded him from the day he was born. His name's Stosh, and she says, Stosh, you're the greatest, you're the greatest. And so he's just been hearing I'm the greatest his whole life. So, but he's a sweet, empathetic child. So we're going through this tour with 25 people, and Ralph is showing us all these things, and he gets to one point, and he says, you got these stalactites and stalagmites, it might be reversed, and the way they function and come together, and he's telling all these details, and my little grandson says, Ralph, he says, you're amazing. And he says, without even flinching, tell that to my ex-wife. So I thought, uh-oh. So then we went on, and we got to the falls, and he was talking about the volume of water that came down through that hole in the deal, and he's talking all these details, and my little grandson, and he said it with this kind of enthusiasm. Ralph, he says, you're a genius. You're a genius. He said, if I'm a genius, what am I doing giving tours at Ruby Falls? So I said, that is the real problem. His self-esteem didn't get kind of cured. So I thought I'd use this as a teaching lesson to teach my grandson how to give tips. And I said, okay, we're going to give Ralph a tip. So I said, you just pull out a bill, and you put that bill in your hand here, and you slip it to him, and you shake his hand, and he'll feel that money, and he'll take that money from you. So he said, okay. So I gave him a 20, and he says, he goes up to Ralph, he shakes his hand, and Ralph just takes the money and puts it in his pocket. He said, aren't you going to look at it? It's a 20. So he's got a little bit more to go on that teaching. Oh yeah, he was funny. How many of y'all went to prom in our senior year? I thought the armory dance was our prom, but I'm here. There was another real prom. Okay, I'm glad to know that. I always wondered. How many of y'all have ever been embarrassed when you were younger, especially? And you find yourself now that you're getting older, you just don't get embarrassed as easily. So, did y'all understand that, or can you share that feeling with me? Where I hit my peak, like I was get real embarrassed real quick and easy, and but when I hit about 40, Don and I have been married about 3 or 4 years, and I decided that for Christmas I was going to get her as a little what we call a stocking stuffer. You know, those, not the main gift, not like giving her a pasta machine for her birthday, that kind of thing. I'm not that stupid. I did it for Christmas one year. But so what I did is I decided, and I'd observed that she just would not spend a lot of money on herself. And I decided I was going to go buy her undergarments, okay? Just replacement undergarments, okay? Just like buying anything else. So I go to a big department store in Nashville. I go in there, and there's the lady, I said, I'd like to look at some bras and panties. And she says, okay. And she showed me, and I knew what size I wanted and what color, white, beige, and black. And I picked out about 6 of these things. And I was kind of in a hurry, so I said, go home and get the rest later. So I have these bras hanging over my arm, and I'm in line, checkout line. This lady's up there checking out people. And there's 3 ladies in front of me, and this is the truth. This is the honest truth. This lady, and I'll never know what her motive was, but she looked back at me, and she says, and these 3 women were still looking forward, "Sir, are you going to need any panties tonight?" And when she said that, naturally, these women all turned around like ducks flying in a row. And I said, okay, I'm not going to let you get one up on me. I says, no, ma'am, I've quit wearing them. I just need the bras. And these ladies turned around like, oh, don't let me even touch him. Don't let me touch him. So anyway, it takes a lot to embarrass me from that point on. I'm telling you. Isn't that a true story, Donna? Let's see, okay, check off bras and panties. I was kind of worried about that one. Let's see here. I've done the Ralph, and I talked to you about the problem with the over-speaking and all that. Y'all heard the one about the preacher that was preaching, and he had a big congregation, and he's preaching and really into his sermon, and all of a sudden the devil gets up on the stage behind him, and people see the devil, and they start running away like flies. And before he knows it, half his congregation gone, and he turns around and looks, and he sees the devil, so he takes off. By this time, there's just one little lady on the front row. He says, "You know who I am? You know you're not afraid of me?" She said, look, devil, I've been living with your brother for 55 years. I am not afraid of you." I used to tell that the other reverse, but I'm doing it with the lady, and it's us guys. So I think, let me see. I told you Sylvia was sick, didn't I? Okay, pray for Sylvia. I hope she gets a quick recovery. So we were going to share all this and do it today, so I just didn't get to do that, so I'm sorry. But I'm pretty organized here, and we're about through. I've done the smack talk. Okay, how many of y'all have ever had a poem written about you? And not to you, but about you. Diane, you've had one. That's nice. Who wrote that? Your brother. That's the first time anybody's ever answered that in the positive. Anybody else? Well, I had a guy we met on a motorhome trip up. Judy's had a poem written about her by her husband. That's sweet. Do you remember it? It said what? Oh, your name, Paul. Okay. That's nice. So anyway, we were on this motorhome trip, and this guy, after I'd met him for a couple of weeks, he said, "I'm going to write a poem about you," just from his experiences with me. He came back about a week later, and he said, "It's called The Long-Winded Speaker." Now, I might have done this a prior year, but I'll probably do it 5 years from now if they have me back. Huh? You forget. And it went like this, as, "We're just wondering if you ever heard tell of the long-winded speaker who was boring as well. He said he was ranting and raving so long and so loud, exerting much effort toward pleasing the crowd." My favorite part says, "The chance of an early conclusion looked dim. The audience finished long before him." So the chairman decided to stop the poor guy. He didn't know how, but he'd give it a try. So he took out the gavel. Let's see, this is the gavel. He took out the gavel to give the lectern a blow. Missed and hit the guy in the front row, who was heard to exclaim as he sank to the floor, "I can still hear him speak. Please hit me once more." That was cruel. But anyway, it didn't stop me. I'll tell you. I just kept on and on. what about preferences? I'm just give everybody. We'll just have show of hands here instead of having you stand up. But let's say your preferences are, and this is just individual preferences, like salty and sweet. So let's say, raise your hands for if you're salty. You're a salty type. Prefer salty. Okay. And how about sweet? Sweet wins out, I think. I'm a sweet. Sweet and salty, okay. What about like vacations, like the beach or mountain home? So how many would prefer the beach? Pretty good number. How about the mountain home? I think that wins out. Wow, that's good. What other appropriate preferences were there, Donna, that I could ask? What? Yeah, sunsets and sunrises. How about sunsets? How about sunrises? That's about even. That's about even. And I would suggest if you spend most of your time doing one of them, try doing the other one. You might find that they're both equally interesting. What was the other one? I just can't be left to my own devices, and I forgot to write these preferences down. You think of any other preferences anybody thinks about? Boats? Like boats or what? Oh, how many people like boats? B-O-A-T-S, okay. Okay, we'll come back to maybe another preference. Now here's, huh? Do what? Cats or dogs, okay. How many like cats better? How many about dogs? Woo! Now you're after my own heart. We just got our first dog in 30 years. His name's Kirby. He's the cutest little dog, little Havanese. And he cried when we left tonight. I started not to come. Just breaks my heart when he cries. He just cries and whines. And I said, so I'll be back. I'm going to be back, Kirby. So you think this little dog ain't spoiled. You're mistaken. But what about, let's say, big dogs? How many people, those of you that are dog lovers, how many have big dogs? How about little dogs? Wow, that's a big, how many of you with little dogs at one time had big dogs? Now, I'm not going to go with, like, what was your first husband or wife like? I'm not going there. I'm just saying dogs. I'm strictly on dogs. And that's it. Was another preference? What about? Oh, how about night owls like me or early to bed? Night owls. Let's have the night owls. Woo, look at it. And how about the early to bed? Pretty good. That's about 60-40. It's somebody's bedtime right now, probably. And that's why I'm about ready to quit here. Let's see. Somebody said awesome. They said awesome. Here's a little, an interesting statistic. Okay, I'm in the mortality business. I've been in the life insurance, investment, financial planning business for 50 years. And we always talk about life expectancy. Everybody wants to know when they're going to die, how long they're going to live, you know. Well, when we were all born, let's just say I was born in 44, so let's just say all of us were born in 44, and we're all about 73. Just use that as a... Then guess what our life expectancy was when the day we were born? How many years? And that meant half of us would be alive at the end of that time. 65 or 66, okay? Now, fast forward to tonight. We're 73, okay? Guess what our life expectancy is right now? 88 and 89. The women get the 89. So the real the existential question is, and I've never gotten this serious at a podium here, but the real question is, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Because if you think about it, if we're here 15 years from now for our, what will that be, our 70th reunion, then at least half of us will still be alive. And at that point, that group has a 10-year expectancy. So it's like, and I run into a lot of people in my work that basically, when they read that age 66 life expectancy, they just planned their whole life like, I'm going to be dead at 66. And here they're waking up at 73, and it's like, I've never felt better, or whatever. So it's just something to put in your brain and think about. But the ultimate question is, what are you going to trade those 15 years for, those 10 years, whatever? It's because we got a lot of us, a lot of us have been blessed with good health. I mean, we're healthy, we're vibrant, and that's where I think there's about 85 of you that came here tonight. I hear a lot of people say we can't get 10 people at our reunion because y'all are, alive and vibrant, and just want to encourage you and continue in that. I'll tell you this is a scientific deal. There was a guy in Woodbury up near Murfreesboro. He was a hog farmer, a little pig farmer. He says that he was the expert on longevity. He says, I've been raising pigs nigh on to 40 years now. And he says, what I notice is when a mama pig has her little litter of piglets, those that survive 4 days have a better chance of making it than them that don't. That's a true story. So try to hang on there and, make it those 4 days. So, okay, I believe that's about it. We're going to have but no, all joking aside, I really, even though I left Cleveland in 1962 and I've never come back here to live, I've lived in Middle Tennessee and traveled a little bit with the government. And but just the memories when I was flipping through the annual, just reminding myself what Harold Harrison looked like so I'd recognize him, And I didn't recognize him when he had his hand all. He's toured the world on motorcycles, and he comes in here tonight on a bicycle and scratches his arm all up, So he's an amazing person. But as I said earlier, this was my safe place, and just going through there and seeing all your pictures, and I wish I could remember everybody's name at the same, but I remembered a lot of them. But just, and I would encourage you to do that. You get your annual out, and you just look into the faces, look into the eyes, and that's what doesn't change a lot. The eyes don't change. And it's amazing how you'll say, this really was a good place. We really had a good deal. We had great teachers. We had great friends. And we learned a lot. A lot of them wouldn't cut us any slack. So I'm just really, really thankful and grateful for the experience that we all had here at Bradley. And I thank you for your involvement. Thanks for letting me be up here and sharing with you. But look forward to seeing you all again in 5 years. Is there anybody that has anything they'd like to share? There were some comments that came in that some of them were, I thought that might be inappropriate if I let somebody share that, but it might not be. I don't know. But again, I'll kind of open the mic here. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to share? I'd like to hear from one. I'll tell you what, Virgil, you said on your comments that playing for the prom and playing for the Ravens, y'all were kind of like the school band almost, aside from the official band, Susan, like, all you band members that had to do that serious Krill Higgins type practice. But Virgil, you commented on what a thrill it was for you to get to play for the prom. Johnny Willis. Was there anybody else? Charlie Snyder's passed on. Big Charlie. Pat Long. Is Pat Long? Is she the? Okay, she's not here. Okay, but anyway, that was a good memory. Does anybody else have any memories they'd like to share? Huh? Oh, you can't remember Snooky. Well, I wish now I had gone to the prom. If one of you girls had just have invited me, I would have gone. Bought you a flower, but nobody invited me, But again, thanks to all, and thanks for coming tonight. And we're going to now, I think the reunion committees are going to all come up and lead everybody in the alma mater. And one thing I would like to, how many of you had Miss Eugenia Rogers in history? Quite a few. Does anybody remember how she would end every class? At least I remembered every class. It might have just been once a month. Does anybody remember? She would say, children, it's later than it's ever been. So you think about that. Come on up, the reunion committee. Who's got the voice? Bo, who's going to lead this? Are you the singer? Okay, everybody is supposed to sing, and the words are on your, I think, the second page. Does everybody have those? singer up here. I got no bass voice, so I can't lead the singing. I'm gonna tell you that. Who can sing? Harry, you come up. Let's stand up. Everybody stand up.
Everybody stand up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
On the city's northern border, red against the sky, proudly stands our alma mater as the years go by. Onward, upward, be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, Bradley High, all hail. Yeah.
We've got Tanner Coates here. Tanner Lauderdale Coates is our DJ. So if you want to stay around and sing and dance and whatever. This is Sylvia Lauderdale's son, Tanner, the music man. Let's hear it for Tanner.
See how